Hi everyone, my name's Silvano Pechakucha, and for my Pechakucha, I was having troubles coming up with a big idea. So I started thinking to myself, what are things I like? What are some things that mean a lot to me? And then it hit me. I love soccer, and my favorite team is Juventus. So why not share the history of my favorite team? So on November 1st, 1897, on a bench on Corso Re Umberto, which is one of the most famous streets in Torino, Italy, brothers Eugenio Canfari and Enrico Canfari, who both love soccer, had the idea to start their own team. And from that day on, Juventus was born. So let's talk about their early years, their league titles, also known as a Scudetto. Their first was in 1905. Second came in 1925 after World War I. And from 1930 to 35, they won 5 consecutive titles. After World War II, they won 2 in 1950 and 1952. And in 1958, they won their 10th, which allowed them to put a star on their jersey. In 1985, they won their first Champions League, which led them to the Intercontinental Cup, which is just teams from each continent playing each other to see who's the best team in the world. And lo and behold, they beat Argentinos Juniors, crowning them the best team in the world. After this, though, they would not capture another Champions League for many years. Between 1958 and 1982, Juventus won another 10 league titles, and on May 16, 1982, they were able to add another star to their logo, as you can see here. This was a cornerstone in their history. They defined their dominance in Italian soccer and also world soccer. Then, on July 11, 1982, Italy won its third World Cup. And you could say that this was pretty much from the Juventus talent, as 6 of the 11 starting players on this World Cup squad all played for Juventus that year. So needless to say, they were producing a lot of talent and wasn't only helping out themselves, but the national team. Then, within the next 10 years, they kind of went under a reconstruction phase. So they were bringing in new players, sending old players out. They only won 2 league titles within this time, so it was a difficult period for them. But with reconstruction comes further glory. So, back on top, Juventus would win another league title in 1995, and then it sprung them back into Champions League. This was also the year that they signed Alessandro Del Piero, which is a player that would rewrite their history books. And as luck would have it, on May 22nd, 1996, they beat Ajax in penalty shots to win the Champions League for the second time. Then, in 1998, Juventus would claim its spot in Italian history, reaching 25 league titles. No other team has even came close to doing this in Italian history. So, you could say that this was the defining moment for them to put themselves in the history books. On July 15th, 2003, they finally acquired the land rights for the stadium that they were already playing at. This stadium was called the Stadio delle Alpi. They didn't own the stadium at the time just because some political stuff that happened within the country. They finally acquired the rights in 2003. Then, in 2006, scandal hit the club. They were stripped of 2 of their league titles and relegated to the second division, which they were going to start with a 9-point disadvantage due to charges of match fixing brought to the club. Although this was bad, they only spent 1 season in the second division. They won it and returned to the first division the next year. This spelled tough times for Juventus. After the scandal, it was hard for them to transition back into top-flight soccer for the squad. They wouldn't see another league title for about another 5 years. This was a big change for them. But through this change, it brought forward a new Juventus who was hungry for glory. Then, the beginning of the 2011 season would mark in style as they began playing at their new stadium, the J Stadium. It was a great way to start the year in which would turn around Juventus' fortune. This would restore them back to glory and back into the top of Italian soccer. With a new stadium became a new coach. So in 2011, Antonio Conte also started coaching the team. He was a former player of Juventus and really had love for the team, and he was so excited to start. So with this new coach, he brought a new style of play. This new style of play allowed them to produce beautiful soccer and great results. They also won their first league title in years at the end of 2011. But it had mixed emotions as they ended up losing their talisman, Alessandro Del Piero, who was their captain for over 10 years. He finished this year as the league and team's top goal scorer and helped restore Juventus back to the top of the table. In 2013, Juventus added another accomplishment to their long list. They won their 30th league title, which allowed them to put 3 stars on their logo, boasting them back to the top and showing that they truly are the most dominant team in the Italian league. They were finally out of their slump and back to their winning ways. So, at 119 years old, Juventus is the oldest club in Italian league history, which gave them their nickname La Vecchia Signora, which actually translates into the old lady. So, to mark its birthday, they opened J Museum. Then, after this, another 2 titles came their way in 2014 and 2015. They have now won the league 3 years in a row. And all eyes are on them to see if they can win another 5 in a row like they did from the years 1930 to 1935. So it's going to be very exciting. Almost another Champions League. In 2015, they almost reached double glory as they made it to the Champions League finals. It was a very, very hard match as they played the defending champions Barcelona. It was very tight, but after a long and hard game, they ended up losing 3-1. They were so close, but yet so far. So in the end, my favorite team, Juventus, is very near and dear to my heart. They're the oldest and most historic club in Italian soccer. They're filled with rich history that includes highs and lows for the team. And there's no telling what's going to happen for them within the next decade. But no doubt there's going to be many more victories, much more glory, and a lot more trophies. Thank you.